morning and welcome to our session, Using Technology to Facilitate Student Research. I'm Professor Sarah Hoyland. I'm an assistant professor of sociology here at Ostos Community College. My research project that I'm working on is entitled From the Military to Motorcycles, Female Veterans and Outlaw Motorcycle Clubs. And in order to facilitate the research this semester, I have two student research assistants.
My name is Deshana Overton, and this is my last semester here at Ostos Community College. I plan on continuing my education at 4 years to study psychology.
Hi, I'm Kate Wolf. I'm an assistant professor of psychology here at Ostos Community College. I'm studying attitudes and prejudice towards transgender individuals and bisexual individuals, specifically looking at cognitive aspects of that, more specifically kind of dichotomous thinking and how that affects attitudes towards people who don't fit into dichotomies. My students have been helping me get that off the ground, and I'm working on developing surveys for that. I have two students here with me. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Amy Cartagena. This is my third semester at Ostos Community College. I'm graduating, so I'm excited. And I will be attending Hunter next semester and hopefully pursue something in psychology.
Hi, my name is Shakira Curtis. This is also my last semester here at Ostos. I am also going to Hunter, so also pursue psychology. So I came to the right place, right?
So what we'd now like to do is to find out a little bit about you guys. Hopefully you've gotten a Nearpod that has a Google survey preloaded. We wanted to model to a certain extent how we're using technology with our students by having you guys engage in a brief exercise as well. So the students can help you if you're having difficulty, but your screen should look something like this. It's being controlled by our master iPad up at the front of the room. And so go ahead and fill out the survey and then we'll move forward. It does not look like that.
Okay.
Oh,
Did you log into Nearpod first?
where's the master?
They took it.
So if I don't even have Nearpod, should I download it? Or should I just? It should be on your iPad. Or you get no one. Here. Okay, I think she just needs
Elizabeth has one that's loaded.
You need one, Karen?
No, she wasn't mine. I think we just gave it to her. That's okay. It's all right. They can give me another one. It's not, so we can bond.
No, she took it,
All technology. That's what the technology conference is all about.
Follow technology.
So if you have the survey, please fill it out and submit it. This is going to make a great video too.
Riveting.
Doesn't seem to. Have you done undergraduate?
So I think it's destined that whenever there's a technology conference, there are major technology issues. It's such a cliche, but we use this card every day in class and maybe one or two doesn't work, and now we have a stack of iPads for some reason that are not agreeing with Nearpod today. So we'll just keep moving forward with our presentation.
Yes.
But basically we were asking you some questions to see, just by a quick show of hands, how many of you have facilitated or led student research as a faculty member? Okay, so several people. Have you ever been a research assistant in any capacity? Right, okay, good, so a lot of people in the room. And then we're gonna talk about some of these tools that we use with our student research assistants, of course, discussions, journals, blogs, assignments, YouTube mashups, and wikis. And then we were just kind of curious as to people's experience with these different research.
I like the third one.
Okay, so move right along. So how we use technology in a variety of forms. So this is part of a Title V initiative. We have 3 students per faculty member, and those students work with us all semester. And the idea is that the students will get firsthand experience doing research, and as you heard, Professor Wolf's students are all about to graduate. They're all looking to go to a 4-year school and engage in psychology as a major. So this is kind of new and interesting that a community college facilitates research in this way. So Professor Wolf's project is based on other work that she's done. It's a much larger project, but she boiled it down in order for the students to assist her. Similar, mine was much the same, where I had a massive dissertation that I'm trying to sort of still work with, and several years of ethnographic research that I was trying to find a way for students to engage and to help me do some of the research that I don't always have time to do. So what we did was we created Blackboard shells, and then we posted all of the information we wanted our students to know in those shells. We tried to facilitate some collaborative elements with wikis and blogs so that they could talk to each other. It was a closed shell with just the students that were in that particular research project. And then we also used the journal very heavily. So the SRA, the Student Research Assistant Journal, really provided a space for the students to give us weekly feedback on how they were doing with the tasks that we were giving them. And it also provided us a way to comment back on, try this, or great job on this, let's try this next week. And so we were able to kind of stay in almost constant communication through that. The students also did all of their CITI training, so they're officially researchers according to CUNY. They did their RCR as well as the training for behavioral social sciences. Some of the non-technological aspects of our research, though, we found that as great as technology is, as we're experiencing this morning, we did really find that the face-to-face time we had with our students was extremely valuable. We met with the students bi-weekly in our offices, and obviously this isn't us, but we didn't have any photographs of us with our students. So we met with them weekly or bi-weekly and checked in with them that way. And then our students also were engaged in our own classrooms in a variety of ways. So in our other project, you'll see the students were actually conducting the research with iPads. And so in that way, we had some very non-technological aspects.
Okay, so as a student research assistant, technology has been a really prevalent and significant factor throughout our project. And as a way to reflect on our experience with this technology, we all came up with some positives and negatives to using the communication space. One way that it benefited us when we were doing our project is that it doesn't take up any physical space. Everything's online, so that's a really positive thing. And accessibility is really easy to get to, no matter where you are.
The cool thing about Blackboard is that the professors were able to upload things that were beneficial for us. For example, you can see that we had an APA style tutorial, and as we know, the APA thing is definitely important for research. So I thought it was interesting because it taught me everything I needed to know, and I definitely know how to cite things now, so that's great. And then another way was communication. During the whole time I was doing journal entries, just to talk about my experience with just the whole project itself, doing the research, going to these programs that were provided. So it was a way for me and Professor Wolf to communicate, so we were definitely on the same page every time I met up with her, so it was definitely great. And then of course there's the negative side. So, as being a full-time student and mother, sometimes I forget things and it happens. So what happens is usually from Blackboard I get emails stating that there's something coming due. So I was definitely on top of everything. And even if I was late, the program within Blackboard was able to let me do it. So everything was good. And then, negatives of not logging into the show regularly. But again, I got the email updates, so it's still a positive side to the negatives.
though like Blackboard is really easy to access, sometimes it still can be difficult, like trying to find that window to log in. So.
Other than that, it was a great experience.
Okay, so like Amy was saying, being a full-time mother, working, having a lot of other obligations, researching could have been a much more difficult task, but with the use of Blackboard, it was a bit easier. So it was very convenient. Like we were saying, it was accessible any place, anytime. I can log on at 1 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning when I did most of my work to do what I had to do. So it wasn't like any constraints as to when I can submit an assignment, read an assignment, everything I had to do, it was there and I was able to do it on my own times. Another thing that was great is that it was compatible with other systems. So it wasn't just tailored for Windows, you can use it on Mac, which I had no idea how to use before, but it was easy to use on Mac as well. So how has Blackboard helped me conduct research? I was terrified citing APA because I've learned Emily, I've learned Chicago, so when I was told that I had to do APA, I was terrified. But there was a tutorial there that took me step by step to learn how to cite APA, and in less than 20 minutes, I was able to learn how to cite an APA. The weekly journals were also helpful, being able to reflect and to also talk with my faculty research leader so she can give me feedback as to what was working or what I could have done differently. So that was good because we were in constant communication even if we did not see each other every day. Course schedule, I was able to see what journals I needed to read and submit, so everything was just there. It was plain and easy to see, so it wasn't difficult for me to know and to keep track of what I had to do. So it was just easy.
Shout out to technology.
Okay, so we're gonna turn over and ask you if you have questions, and I'm also going to bring up the Blackboard shell that we've been talking about all the time, so you can see what we're talking about and what we put up there for the students. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll let you handle questions right now. So, any questions, guys? No? Oh, I'll mention one thing that we didn't mention. I have started using Google Forms to create surveys, and I do survey research. So I also had Amy help me create part of a survey using Google Forms. So it's a very easy interface to use. I had no idea that it existed even before the semester actually, and I had no idea how easy it was to create surveys. And so we created all the surveys for our other project, which we'll be talking about later with it, and I got Amy started on creating surveys herself. So what do you think about doing that?
It was very therapeutic almost, because like I'm just sitting there and I'm like, okay, copy, paste, select, copy. It was so easy to do compared to like just doing it on a Word, you know, try to get that perfect font, try to get everything aligned perfectly, and it's just, with the Google Forms, it just did everything for you, and it was just so easy, and it was like perfect. I didn't have to do anything.
And you saw an example of it on the form we had you start to fill out and everything. That was made in a Google form. So yes.
Have you started to take the data out that you received? And could you comment on that, how easy it is to put it into, say, a spreadsheet or whatever?
I'm going to talk more about that in the second presentation that we're doing.
We'll
because
demo
we're
it.
next.
Okay.
And we'll show you. It's very easy.
Great.
But for this project, I'm just getting started making the surveys, so I'm not at that point yet. I don't have IRB approval. I haven't submitted anything to them yet. But it was very helpful because my research assistants helped me with the literature review, They helped me get started on making the survey, and so I feel like I've made a lot of progress this semester, whereas before I felt like I was kind of stalled because I was so busy doing other things. So, it's been a great help to me to have them and have them help me, with the whole process of planning the study.
Well, and I will say as well, from faculty's perspective, it was really beneficial in terms of, for me, I need Blackboard to stay organized, because on top of the other classes and the committees, and it really keeps me on track. What do we have to do this week? Where are we going next? And so this is an example of my shell for Deshauna and Ranger, who couldn't make it today. But basically, it was a quick and easy, nothing flashy. Everything was just in a course content page. And then they would have weekly reminders about what was due. They would make all their entries here in a reflection journal. I started them off with a real brief kind of, it's an article that's published in the International Journal of Motorcycle Studies, but it's sort of like the history of motorcycle clubs, which is what my general topic is. And so they looked at something that's not quite journal-esque in the way that we're used to it, but is much more easy for students to sort of break into. You can see it's long, but it's not written in a way that's super complex. And then I created a blog for them to go ahead and talk about what they thought about that. And then more importantly, he briefly mentions the Motor Maids, which were a women's motorcycle club that originated around the same time as the Hells Angels and all the others. How do you see women fitting into this history Delaney describes? And so sort of as an entry point, I think it was a good way for the students to kind of, get a literature review of the topic without having to read 15 articles. And then they moved into more things. Like I had them review an article that I was trying to submit, and I did just find out yesterday it's going to be accepted. But the students helped a lot with that. Not even their edits, but just the fact that I knew I had to get it ready because they were waiting for it. They helped me prepare a proposal for a conference this summer, which was accepted, so I'll be in Birmingham in July. But I think really just they're excited about research, and so their excitement sort of came back to me like, oh yeah, this is a pretty fun topic, like what can we do with it? And so, this, for me at least, instead of feeling like one more class, was a fun, interactive way for them to see what we do outside of the classroom, and then to get their help. So probably the most beneficial thing. Deshauna, do you want to just, maybe we have like a minute or two, briefly talk about what you did for the literature review?
Okay, so for the literature review, I worked with a librarian to find some articles like through the databases, and with the information that I collected, I was able to write a summary about what I was able to find, and I really appreciated this work, and I really appreciated the journal entries because it allowed me to express my feelings and develop my writing skills. The skills that I developed by using this technology really helps me. And these are skills that I'll be able to carry on with me as I continue my education.
And, so in terms of the research, this is obviously basic uses of technology, but being able to edit their work online and give them faster feedback, I found to be really helpful. I had Deshauna in class, as I think Professor Wolf had both of her student research assistants. So, it was really interesting to see their writing grow and deepen throughout the semester and this kind of concentrated experience where they're just working with us. Any other? Wrap it up.
How are we doing on time?
Yeah. Hi.
Do your research students get course credit for working with you, or do they do it as volunteers?
That's a great question.
No, this is part of a Title V grant that the college got, and so they're not getting credit, but at the end of the semester they're getting paid a stipend, and then from us they'll get letters of recommendation and those kinds of things that will help them hopefully professionally and in school. So they're not getting credit, but they're working 3 hours a week, and so they'll be paid at the end of the semester. Yeah. It's a great program, and having 3 of them is interesting, especially with 3 different research projects going on. I could show my shelf if we have time.
Well, I'm wondering, so as we transition into the next one, I think maybe we can find a better way to get you guys engaged with Nearpod, because I want everyone to actually see and sort of feel how it works. Our second project is also with student research assistants, but it's based on using the iPads to conduct pedagogical research. So as we sort of transition over to the new group of student research assistants, I'm gonna ask you guys to try to come back into Nearpod through a different way, if that's okay. And then if anyone wants to leave or check out a different session, that's fine. Otherwise, we'll just proceed and,
Okay.
yeah?
We'll just,
Okay.
morph into the second
Yeah.
presentation. And then I'll answer your question about Google Forms.
Yeah, this way you can see, she'll show you the data.
Thank you.
Okay, so, yeah, let's try it again. I've got a different pin.
Okay.
So if you have an iPad and you're on that Nearpod app, go ahead and get out of the session and then try to come back into it through this way.
So you have to exit the first session that you were in, and then, close it out, and then go back in to the pod. There should be a button to exit.
Oh, so you're in.
How we doing?
Oh, all right.
Yes, okay.
Nearpod? No, what do we,
So,
not this.
you don't, no, you don't.
It doesn't want to let you out. Let's do it done.
I've been trying.
Now just
Okay.
join the session.
All right.
Just do the join the session, you don't need to sign in.
Are these all
Google-
caps?
All caps, yes,
Uh-huh.
exactly as it is on the screen, all caps,
We'll get creative.
all caps.
It's not gonna
It's not, I'm sorry.
Okay.
correctly.
We should have titled this, how technology can go wrong.
I know.
We just wanted to.
So I think we could perhaps, let's try a third way.
Oh, you want them to just type the link?
We're gonna do share.
Yeah.
You gotta make it public, so open it. Go to the live forum, I guess.
I don't, well, okay, we'll see. It's, you can't do it that way. So what we do in our classes is we put the link in our Blackboard shell and you just click on it, it opens. Like there's no difficulty getting to the survey, getting around it. Yes.
So if you click on send form, it should give you a shorter link.
Yeah,
So short.
And just have you guys type it in.
okay, so
Yeah.
there's the link.
Thank you. This is what the link, we put that short one in our course shell, and for some reason we were unable to get it in a space for you guys for today. So it's http:///.
So now we're just going through a browser.
Yeah. just
Any
open the
browser.
And, after the backslashes is GOO period GL
/
backslash forms backslash. Can you see that better?
W97 capital D TCV the number 9 OV. Can I make this bigger?
I don't think you can.
Yeah. Is that better for everybody?
Oh,
So
Yeah.
it'll just take 1 minute once everybody gets in, but I think it'll be worth it to see without using Nearpod how this actually looks.
oh, well, we could we just need to open a browser. Any browser, yeah.
Yes, it's a different search. So yeah, it should say Bronx Ed Tech QR, and then you'll see those first few questions. And if you just came in and you want to play with the survey, we'll get you an iPad. You just need to be able to get on the internet. So students, does anyone have iPads? We're working, we're gonna get them on the survey. Okay, they'll get you right on the survey. Yeah, so go ahead and just answer. Does yours should say,
It doesn't work like that one, I just did it. You need to go to the browser.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I got it. That's what I was. Yeah, if you go into the browser, everybody that's done it is right on there. There's no issue that way.
Right.
The issue right now is with Nearpod, and that one might have to be resolved later.
This shows how important it is to be flexible when you're teaching or doing a presentation. I can read it to you again if anyone needs me to read it to you.
Is anyone back here now?
Okay, cool.
No, I'm all right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so there will be a couple of graphs, we're gonna scroll down and just answer to the best of your ability. They're meant to be pretty simple and straightforward, there's no trick or no catch, we won't post your answers up on the.
And we just wanted to give you a sample of the experience our students are having when we're doing this QR project that we're going to be talking about in this next presentation. So I guess I will back up and start the actual, yeah.
Everybody that's in here is locked out.
Okay,
If you
so
wanna
I
go
can-
back out.
Okay.
Get to the data part.
Yeah, so, you know, if you're not logged in, this is the kind of what the form looks like that we created on Google Forms. And these are a couple of questions about quantitative literacy that we put on there that you'll see. And our project was based on analyzing pie charts, so we put a couple in the form for you to analyze and answer some questions about. And this is kind of similar to what our students would see. Yeah, I'm looking for the data, I don't see it. It's not there. I mean, I could log into my site and show them some real data, and just what it looks like. When you
Cause maybe no one's hit submit yet, I see everyone's still working on it.
have you
so
guys
they're-
hit? Okay. We were going to show you what the data looks like in raw form, and then also what you can do very simply in Google Forms. And then there are other things you can do with it, like you could export it into an Excel file, but it's very similar to an Excel file.
So they can see the data, Kate. The way I set it up on this one, sorry, I set this one up a little differently than what we do for our students, so you can see each other's answers. So when they click view other responses, you'll start seeing everyone that's submitted.
Oh, is it this one?
Yeah, so there's 5 responses already.
Yeah, there we go.
Excuse me. Okay, I see.
So I'll wait till people are finished. Yeah. Cool.
That's neat, that it's in real time.
It just pops in there, and it's automatically saved. You don't have to ever save anything. It's
Yeah,
all
right.
automatic.
Yeah, so you are just projecting the live site
Right.
for your answers.
Whenever you
Yeah.
create a Google form,
Yeah.
and it is saved in your Google Drive, and
Yeah.
then the responses are automatically created in Google Drive as a separate document.
Uh-huh.
This is Google Form.
This is the data from Google Forms, yes. And it's automatically created in your Google Drive when you use a Google form to do a survey. So it's very easy to use. So, has everyone who wants to submitted their survey? Not quite, okay.
I don't get the connection between Neopod and Google Form.
The Nearpod is a presentation software, and you can create PowerPoints that have videos in them, that have quizzes in them, that have opportunities for students to draw in them, have all these different options. And the Nearpod will also let you put links in them to websites. And so we can link Google Forms to Nearpod usually, and have the student use Nearpod to access it. What we do in our classes is we put the link on Blackboard, because it's so much easier just to do that. We were originally going to do the whole survey in Nearpod, and then I realized you can't do that because you have to create polls, or you can't do multiple choice questions because you have to have a correct answer. And we don't want a correct answer. We want everyone else's opinion. So I realized early on we couldn't use Nearpod for the actual survey. And we were going to embed it in Nearpod. So then we switched to Google Forms. And then we decided to use the iPads to have the students take the surveys. But the link to Google Forms was in Blackboard. So they would just get an iPad, they go to our Blackboard site for the course, they click on the link, and they're at the form. And then they can fill it out for us. And it's much, the forms we're using for this quantitative research project are very similar to the ones you saw just now and filled out. So they're not very long. And we'll talk about the project, the whole project in a second. Let me show you one more thing about the Google Forms. When you click on form summary responses, this is what you get. Automatically created pie charts, bar graphs, and then a list of all the qualitative responses without you having to do anything except click on it. So this is very helpful for presenting data to other people, for getting a sense of what your data looks like. I know, when I saw this, I freaked out. I was like, whoa, we can get data, and we can get the visual representation of that data in many forms automatically. I went to school a long time ago where you had to make these things, and now you don't. So I was very excited. So this is, and you can send this to people. You can save it as a web page. You can print it. You can do whatever you want with it. And then the raw data you still have. It does nothing to it. And you have you can create pivot tables. You can send the forms, make the form live so everyone who took it can see it, who took the survey. You can do all kinds of things. And so I think this is really a great tool. You could also move it to Excel if you wanted to use Excel and do statistics, or if you want to export it to SPSS and those kinds of things. So we're very excited about our data. I can't wait to get into it and start trying to figure out what it all means.
What did you click on again to get the graphs and everything?
Yeah.
Tools?
Form. So if you want the bar graphs, you click on Form, and then you go down to Show Summary of Responses, and then you get the charts.
And for those of you that took it, you saw that. So you can either obviously click or not click that when you create it. So I wanted you guys to be able to see as you finish what other people were saying and what the group looked like as a whole. Well, that, I said, okay. Ah. Oh, that was mine.
Yeah, Reaganomics.
Great. So I'll pull us back into our presentation.
So now we're gonna back up and start the presentation that we were just kind of demonstrating.